Welcome to today's episode of Level Up. I'm especially excited about today's guest as he is someone who has played a significant role in helping me build a multi-million dollar property portfolio. He is one of Australia's top mortgage brokers, a seasoned expert in the property and finance market, and my wonderful husband, Hardik Shah. So, whether you're a first home property buyer, a seasoned property investor, or someone just wanting to get some ins and outs of the property market, you're in for a treat. Get ready to get some valuable knowledge, some amazing insights into the world of property and finance. Hi, Hardik. Welcome to Level Up. So excited to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me, Priyanka, and thank you for the great introduction.
My pleasure. Let's jump straight into all things property and finance. Give us a snapshot, Hardik, of the current property market in Australia. What do you think? What's hot? What's not right now?
The property market is still doing all right in Australia as compared to other countries in the world. The rates are very high, inflation is very high, the businesses are suffering, but due to lack of supply, lack of construction of new homes, there are enough people and there are enough migration as well coming in, which is keeping the property prices stable.
Right.
As soon as there would be one rate cut, the sentiments are going to just boost out, and the market should be very much going upwards. It should not go anywhere south.
Right.
From here, I would feel.
So you think it's holding up and then it's only positive in the future?
Absolutely, yeah, because the overall economy of Australia is quite good. A lot of people still coming in, and it's just a matter of when.
Amazing. Great to know that. For someone looking to buy, for someone who's a first home buyer looking to enter into the property market, maybe share some 3 tips that you could give them that they should keep in mind when looking to buy their first home.
First home buyers, they probably need to start way before they actually want to get into the market. So prep work is very important for first home buyer.
Right.
So seeing a mortgage broker or going to the branch beforehand is important to work out how much they can afford based on their income. So servicing is the key thing. Second thing is savings or deposit. A lot of first home buyer feel that they only need 5% and they can get into the market straight away, but no, there is mortgage insurance, there might be stamp duty, there might be something more depending on the property price as well. So it's important for them to do the prep work before 6
Right.
months before they want to buy a property, so that when they
Okay.
get to that point, there are no surprises and they can actually get into the market sooner as compared to the finding out some surprises at the last minute.
I think that's amazing that you say that they need to start 6 months before they actually think about it. So, I think that's some really good, valuable advice to someone who's probably looking at getting a property at the moment. What do you think about people investing, like maybe second, third, fourth property investments? Anything that they need to keep in mind when borrowing, trying to secure finance, especially in the current scenario about the interest rates that's going on?
Yeah, people buying second, third, fourth nowadays are finding harder because of the servicing. The rates are so high, the assessment rate are so high.
Yeah.
So people who could have afforded $1 million 2 years back are now only able to afford 600,000. So
Oh, that's a huge
there's a big
decrease.
difference because of the
Yeah.
rate, which has gone up literally 3 times.
Wow.
So servicing is bit hard, but people who can afford, people who have planned their structure correctly for setting up the loans,
Yeah.
to get more of negative gearing, to get more of rental income, and if they again plan well, they can get into their third, fourth as well. There's no one stopping them to buy even 10 properties.
Right.
People are also focusing on positively geared properties nowadays. At the same time, looking to buy properties below 600,000 is also becoming more and more important as compared to buying properties which are over or close to $1 million. It's becoming more and more difficult because of the servicing.
And the borrowing capacity, I think that
That's
would have gone
the
down.
key thing. So a lot of investors are going interstates to look for areas where the median price of the properties are close to 500, which is hard to find in Victoria.
Right, okay. So, anything that people could do about their borrowing capacity? I know the interest rates have affected and impacted the capacity to be reduced drastically. Is there a way that maybe you as a mortgage broker or the bank, so is there any respite, any help that could come out of it for people looking at buying property?
There are a lot of lenders out there, and a lot of lenders have got different policies. Very common thing is some of the smaller lenders have got lower assessment rate where they can borrow more money as compared to another lender with a higher assessment rate. So it all depends on the personal situation as well and how keen they are to buy a property. Uh, and there's nothing you can do to improve the servicing other than earn more, have less liabilities. Once you have done your part, then the broker can do their part to find you the best lender with the best rates and maximum borrowing capacity. And structuring the deal, taking the loan back to 30 years will help them borrow more money. Doing more of negative gearing can help them borrow more money. So there are certain strategies that can help you, but the key thing will again always be how much you're earning and what your liabilities are. Your car loans, if you have less liabilities, will definitely help.
Okay, that's good to know. Is there any particular bank that you think is better with interest rates or borrowing capacity, or what is, in your experience, what do you think?
The banks keeps changing their offers regularly, but the big four, in fact even the big six, are still very very good. It's more about negotiating with them as well, and they do come down on rates. They're very much at par with some of the smaller lenders out there as well. So depending on the situation, there's not just one bank, but ANZ, St. George, Westpac, NAB, even HSBC, AMP, ING. There are these different banks at different time for different people. They're always good.
Right, okay. So it's, in your opinion, it's best to maybe speak to an expert like yourself or someone in the industry, or do you think it's better to go to a bank directly? Like, what's your experience? Why would someone need to see a mortgage broker versus going to a bank?
I think, Priyanka, it's very simple and very common knowledge nowadays. As a broker, we deal with numerous lenders. There are like 40, 50 different lenders. Your situation is different to pretty much everyone. And as a broker, we can try and fit you best in the best fit bank, which can give us the best rate, maximum borrowing capacity, depending on your needs. We can try and find the best suitable bank, and we can have options, and then you can choose from that option as a as a client. As a broker, we don't mind dealing with any bank, and we get a commission paid by the bank directly any which ways. So rather than going to one branch and just having one approach or one sort of products, you got numerous options to choose from, and it just more of that connection, that relationship, which is more important, because I've been there for 10 years and I've got clients who have been with me for 10 years. Very hard for employee of a branch or a bank to kind of stay with them. They move on. So
That's
you're
a
not
fair
going to
point,
have a connection for very long.
Right. But when you say that you get paid directly from the bank, is that going to come at the cost of the person getting the loan? Like, if I'm getting a loan through you, do I have to pay extra because I'm going through a mortgage broker like yourself
No,
versus a
Priyanka.
bank?
The bank pays salary to the employee. That doesn't come to the client. Similarly, what they pay as a commission, it doesn't come off your thing. It obviously the bank's profit, and they pay us commission for working for them.
At no cost to me.
Exactly. You're going to get the same thing whether you go through the branch or through a broker directly. Sometimes we are able to negotiate a better deals because of the volumes we do.
Right.
But it's eventually you'll have the same thing through the branch or through a broker.
So it's really like a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer, and that's why the broker share in the current market is gone up considerably. It's very high, and eventually all the banks are also closing the branches because the overheads are too high, and everyone's becoming more digitalized with their banking. And with the broker, everything also can be done through Zoom and video calls, and they're more accessible.
Okay, wow. I didn't know that banks are getting affected and their ratio of how much they're lending through their own channel is reducing so much.
Yeah, like not many people go to the branch, and that's why there's less of walk-ins.
Right, okay. Now, good to know that. I was keen to understand if you have a success story of a client you may have helped maybe get finance in a tricky situation, or you've helped them build a portfolio, like maybe a success story of any of your client that you may have.
I actually would have a lot, but again, something which is very common is a client of mine was looking to buy an investment property. He didn't had enough cash, and he was counting on the equity of the current house. Now with the current bank that he was with, we did a valuation. the valuation came in bit lower than expected, so they didn't have enough equity, which
Right.
means he was short on deposit. We went to few other banks, tried few other valuations upfront, and we found a bank who gave us an expected valuation,
Right.
because of which we could get enough equity out to help him pay for the 20% deposit plus stamp duty on the investment property that he was looking to buy. Now, if he would have been with the same bank, and because the valuation came in low, he might not have been able to buy the investment property.
Right.
And
Right.
because I helped him to secure that equity with the getting a better valuation, he was able to buy the investment property. And actually it's been almost a year ago, and he's very happy, and he's the value of the investment property has also gone up as well.
Right. So he's built up another set of equity that he could actually use to get another property.
Not enough for another property,
Right.
but it's just
Close
been
enough
exactly,
to
just been a
come to
short
that
time.
stage, yeah.
But within a year or two, he'll be again ready for a third one, because there would be equity in both the properties.
So you actually propel them forward rather than if they had they not come to you or an expert like you, they would have been stuck with the same bank, not have been able to borrow, and then maybe would have had to wait a few years until they're ready for it. And in this situation, they've actually even secured the property. The property is increased in value. He's built up equity there, and maybe you could jump onto the
Third
next
one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very true. It's all about the experience and the knowledge that I have. I want to help the client to make sure that they benefit from my knowledge, and I want them to propel and grow in their career in what they do and build more of equity and capital.
That's amazing. That's great to know. Thank you for sharing that story, Hardik. What about your story? Like, how have you built your multi-million dollar property portfolio? I know you've helped me. We've together built all this uh, wealth around us through properties, and it is all thanks to your expertise. But guide us through it. I know you are at the forefront of it, so I'd love to know what have you done to get us to where we are at this stage.
Our first home was in Hoppers Crossing,
I know.
which was a challenge, and it was so tough to even get that house at that point.
I
But
remember I used my 10,000 savings that I had kind of sneaked from my salaries and kept it somewhere, and we kind of banked on that
Yeah.
to be able to get our
we
first
borrowed
home.
literally 95% loan at that point, and there was some grant and whatnot
Yeah.
to help us to get into that market 10 years back, or I think, yeah, pretty much almost, or 12 years back.
Yeah.
I think the next step was we got some equity from that property,
Right.
which we used to start the business. And then the business did well as a broker, and then we entered into another market for property. The equity of each property has helped us so much, and because we have hold those properties, the value has gone up, and the equity kind of acts as a saving as long as we can afford to pay the bank back. That has kind of helped us into getting into the next property. Without those equity, it would have taken 2 or 3 years more to do the next stage, and then everything would have been delayed by
By
four,
2 3 years
five
each, so you
each.
could have
Exactly,
been lagging like a decade behind from where we are at this
exactly.
point.
So structuring it correctly, finding the right property where we know that what we are buying this cheaper than the market price, it goes up in value, and that kind of help us to buy the next one. And it's been an amazing journey where we have started from one, and we have got multiple properties now.
Right, that's amazing. And thank you for your expertise in helping me build what we have built today. And yeah, it's amazing from how we started from Hoppers Crossing to today living in Turak, one of the most prestigious suburbs in Australia. We've come a long way. So
Yeah,
thank you,
absolutely.
and proud of you for all that we've
It's a
achieved
teamwork.
together. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You also are a mortgage broker. You're an entrepreneur. I know you run multiple businesses as well. You are a husband and a father. Do you have any tips on how you manage to balance your personal and professional life? Or do you maybe?
Look, again, I have been I'm very well organized with my work, with my processes. They're
I'm
very
very
thorough.
keenly listening to the answer to this one.
Yeah, because a lot of people have asked me, and I'm very happy to share that. And I'm very happy with the way things are going, because it's always for me that work-life balance. Like, I would love to spend time with the kids. I would love to go on holidays regularly. I would like to travel. At the same time, don't want the work to be compromised. So, first thing first, I work even on holidays. I don't care where am I. but I'll always have my phone and my laptop with me. I might work couple of hours, but I've got a team, I've got a process. Things get actioned in on a timely way.
Sure.
And I'm very good at multitasking, so I can manage few things at the same time. And pretty much that helps me to save time on my work. Things that I'm able to do in 4 hours, some people might do it in 8. And then I have got that extra 4 hours to do other things with
And
you.
how do you do that? How do you manage to do an 8-hour job in 4 hours just by being more organized?
More organized, more focused. When I'm doing something, I'll try and do that itself. I'm not my again, I go to the office for the same reason, where I can get focused, there's no distraction.
Sure.
And that's why I'm able to finish up things. I do things even after hours. If there's a call or something, I don't put it on to the next day. So I'm a bit flexible with my work. I don't mind working at 10 p.m. as well in the night.
Sure.
If I have to call a client for something, or even on a Saturday, because I know that's kind of taking a task done which could have been done the next day, and then I would have
Doing it.
2 other tasks. So I'm kind of throughout the day doing something or the other, which kind of keeps me free as well during the day.
So you essentially are attending to the tasks that are requiring you in that moment. So if it's your work calling you, you'll attend to that first, and then when it's family, you'll attend to that, and you give your 100% to each of
That's
that
right.
task.
I will try and tackle when it comes,
Yeah.
then kind of putting it on the back burner.
So it's not a 9 to 5 and then it's family. Like you'd rather do things when you have to do it and just
Exactly. I'm happy to work 10 p.m. as well. If I'm getting a call or with a client which is important. If I'm
Sure.
not in the mood, I'm watching a movie, I might not even take that call. So it all depends on how and what and where am I. And I can try and tackle that sooner than later. If I can do it right at the moment, I'll try and finish it off. If not, I might do it tomorrow. But my emails are all cleaned up every day.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with how clean your mailbox
Yeah,
is.
so I action everything very quickly as it comes, then kind of,
Yeah,
just
you don't
bombarding it.
let things build up at all.
That's right.
Great, thanks for sharing that. I know I do learn quite a few tips from you, and I also think that I also have a role to play in how you are able to balance all of these things that you do.
See, you help me a lot with the kids and the family and the running the house, which makes my life easier.
Yeah, so I think it's a teamwork. So yeah, thank you. Also, with people building all these investment properties, getting home and everything, what do you think? Like, does personal risk management or personal risk insurance play a role? What are your thoughts on that?
Look, people work really hard to build everything. That's the hardest part. The most easiest part is to protect it. And there's so much lack of awareness, people forget to do it. And then there are incidents and situations where they realize, what, I did so hard, worked so hard to build everything, and now it's pretty much gone because I can't afford it because of a death in the family of the main income earner or the second income earner,
Yeah.
or there's an injury or accident and they can't work, and then all of a sudden everything collapses. So the amount of effort you've put in, you've built, which is for a legacy to pass on to your kids,
Correct.
you need to protect it, and protecting it is very easy to do. You just need to have that awareness. Make sure that you've got your life insurance, your income protection, your TPD. It can be also paid through super as well,
Yeah.
which can help people not to pay from the pocket for the cash flow, but at least it is protecting you and your family.
Yeah.
Because if you don't give this to your kids and they don't get that foundation, they would be starting from scratch and they would be 10 years behind. It's like you're giving them a platform and they're going to give their kids a platform. So it's such a big legacy that you're building right now in this country.
Yeah.
And if you don't protecting it, you're really a foolish person.
I know and agree, because as you said that people either forget to do it, there's lack of awareness, because as a life insurance expert, and we work very closely as well, I've seen that when you talk to people about it, when you talk to people, have you thought about it? There's no one who is there's no one who would actually go and say, no, I don't want to protect my family, or I don't want to protect this, I don't want to protect this. Either people have not thought about it, or people not having the right knowledge. So it's important as a mortgage broker for you to bring that conversation up. So, and I believe with responsible lending policies and everything, it's a big part of what you do as a mortgage broker as well.
When I was working at a bank, I was told that this is important, and this was a part of our targets as well, so every conversation we were told that doesn't matter they take it or not take it, for you to make sure that you have done your part ethically.
Yeah.
Ask the question,
Sure.
you don't have to sell it.
Yeah.
Even they don't buy, it's okay, but make sure they understand the risk, so that if something goes wrong they don't come back on you, that you have told them everything up
Yeah.
front.
Yeah.
So it's very important for me to create that awareness, and then it's up to the client whether they see value in it or they don't see the value in it.
Absolutely. So I believe, and thank you for doing that right thing by the client, and at least bringing that awareness, bringing that topic up with the client, and then leaving it to them to take that decision for themselves and their families. But bringing that conversation is absolutely important. So thank you for doing that.
No, I think it's important what you do, and I really appreciate, because we had instances where people have gone through that stages and they are thankful because they had that insurance.
They had it, yeah.
So it is important, and I hope people understand, and they think about their future and their kids, because
Yeah.
it's all kind of a legacy that they're building, and they protect it.
Absolutely. And the good part of this is most people are not opposed to the idea of getting this insurance.
I think,
in
is it the
place.
cost, or I don't know what it is, where people, whoever says no, I don't know why, but if it's a cost thing, save on something else, but definitely have this.
Yeah, it's probably not even the cost, because actually life insurance doesn't cost much at all. It's surprising how cheap it is. I believe people are usually, once they come out of a mortgage, they have exhausted so much of their savings, their own energy. They're not in that space of mind to think about other things as
True.
well. But I think that's where I come in and help them and make the process as easy and seamless
I
as
think
possible.
once you buy your house or investment property, that's a trigger point where you want to make sure that, you have done it, now protect it.
Yes.
So, if you forget to do it, make sure you do it, because those are the trigger point. As soon as you do a loan, or you've increased your lending or bought another property, speak to your advisor, find out what you have, is that enough, because things changes as well in that space, and that's the trigger point where you want to make sure that, now I'm pretty much covered through what I have, I'm happy.
And it gives the peace of mind you get when you know that
Exactly.
you're covered is priceless. Like, you cannot measure that. I know we started our journey with insurance when we found out that we were going to have our twin boys, and for us it was like we were going through that stage of building these properties, and as most people and most couples would, we don't think about, nobody plans for the unplanned. But
Yeah.
I think
Nobody likes to plan.
nobody likes to plan for the unplanned either. But I think when we were starting our family, that was an important thing we did together. And now it just the piece at the back of my mind that my kids will remain protected regardless of what happens in my presence, and even beyond that.
That's important.
That's a great feeling to have. Just last question, Hardik, before we let you go. What is your outlook on the current interest rates? Last question before we let you go. Do you have any personal predictions, or do you have any predictions on what the property market trends would look like over the next maybe 2-3 years?
In my personal opinion, there would be a rate cut by the end of the year, with even one rate cut, which might not be very huge, might be 0.25%. The sentiments will improve very strongly. People will want to start getting into the market sooner, because they would fear that if they wait for another rate cut and another rate cut, the property price would have gone up. And because of the fear, there would be a lot of people out there buying properties. Long term, it is looking very strong. People who can hold now and buy now will be the true winners in the next 2-3 years.
Right, okay. So, and I guess people who are, sorry. So basically anyone who is even remotely in the property market looking at getting a property, I guess the best thing would be to consult a mortgage broker like yourself, understand what they are in terms of their borrowing capacity, where they're sitting right now, and maybe start looking into it.
Absolutely.
Okay,
It's a good time to buy.
great.
It's a buyer's market at the moment.
Okay, great. Thanks for that valuable insight, all these valuable information and insights, Hardik. Extremely thankful for joining us on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me, Priyanka. It was a pleasure
Thank you.
talking to you.
Thank you.